What's good, YouTube? Standing Man, aka 12 Gauge 365, and I'm back at y'all with another quick one. So, look, UFC 326 has just concluded. So, we got Charles Oliveira. We see him getting his get back against Max Holloway. Now, this was a fight that was I was very hyped for. I was ready to see it because I think this was another one of those true BMF fights, to be honest with you. And I feel like I was always a fan of Dana White implementing the BMF status as well because I feel like it's kind of one of those things because I don't want to compare the UFC too much to the WWE, but you see in the WWE that you know well when I started watching the WWE, we had the heavyweight championship and then we had the WWE championship. Those were the two main big pieces of gold that you see these wrestlers that was trying to attain. So as far as the UFC goes, well, as far as the WWE goes, like I said, you got the two main championship belts, and then you have a bunch of other belts that a bunch of other fighters can get, like the tag team championship, the intercontinental championship, the European championship. Like you had a bunch of different belts that these fighters could get, even though the overarching goal was to get to one of the two big belts. And I feel like that's one of the things that the UFC was lacking because I feel like there does need to be more belts to go around. I think there needs to be a female BMF championship belt as well. I think they need to start figuring out how to implement that into the fold as well because I do think there's a lot of badass female fighters too as well that deserves to get a little bit more shine because not everybody's going to be able to get to that UFC gold. So I feel like the BMF championship is definitely a way for these fighters to have something else to look forward to if they can't reach all the way up to the mountaintop. And as far as Charles Oliveira goes, we see him capture the UFC gold and we also saw him get the BMF championship gold tonight. I feel like he's one of those guys that has really shown and really exemplified the BMF status. The guy has pretty much all of the records in the UFC. We know Derek Lewis has the most knockouts in the UFC heavyweight division and the most knockouts in the UFC in general, but Charles Oliveira has the most finishes and the most fight bonuses in the UFC. So I feel like this man definitely has his name up there. I don't want to say that he's one of the greatest mixed martial artists, but he definitely is one of those guys to where if you type in MMA, Charles Oliveira should be one of those guys that just pop up and it should be known. Like this is a guy like this is one of the people that he's one of the true fighters in the in the UFC scene. So I feel like it was definitely a good win for him. I can't really say too much about the fight because I mean I don't want to say it was a shutout, but it was virtually a shutout. Max Holloway had his moments to where he threw his combinations in there. I was kind of watching for one of my prop bets. We had Max Holloway. I had him going over 31 significant strikes. I don't know if he hit it. I didn't even go back and check the stats. I just wanted to quickly come on here and talk about the fight. I mean, I feel like there was a lot of good fights that was shown tonight. One of my favorite fights that I saw was what was the Dante Johnson versus Corey Brundage. Dante Johnson is one of those guys. I feel like he's coming up in the ranks. I think this was his second or third official fight with the UFC. I think this was his second fight I think this was his second pay-per-view fight. His first fight obviously was the Dana White Contender Series, but he's a guy that's been kind of making a lot of waves, and I definitely see this guy, crawling up to maybe even getting himself in one of those BMF title shots as well, because I mean, the guy's fought from heavyweight all the way down to middleweight, and he's one of those weird kind of he's one of those weird kind of fighters. I think he should stay at 185. He could probably even move it. He could probably even move down to 175. But it's just one of those things to where his power carries, and him starting off at heavyweight, I feel like his power carried a lot from the smaller divisions that he put himself in. But either way, man, he's definitely a fighter to watch out for. I can't wait to see what he does next. There was a lot of great fights. I mean, Caio Borralho, I'm pretty sure I just butchered his name up, but him versus Rainer de Ritter, that was a fight that I was excited to see as well. I wanted to see Rainer de Ritter, get his win back after losing, but it's one of those things to where he still has a lot of growing to do in the UFC. He's still a talented fighter. I mean, he's got close to 30 MMA fights. We'll see him back in there as well, probably in no time. But yeah, Max Holloway definitely tried to state his claim in the 155 division. He's been here before, and I think with this loss, I'm pretty sure he's 2-2 in the 155 division. I'm not real sure. I know he lost to Dustin Poirier the first time he fought, and then he goes and beats he goes he beats Justin Gaethje, then he beats Dustin Poirier again, and then he just lost. So I'm pretty sure out of four fights I'm pretty sure out of four fights with him moving up to lightweight, I'm pretty sure he's 2-2. Split even with his record. I mean, that's still pretty good, especially the legend that Max Holloway is. I don't know how many. I think there are some good fights for him to make at 155, but I mean, I feel like it's Max Holloway is one of those weird kind of situations to where I mean, when you've already fought everybody, where else is there left for you to turn? I mean, he didn't really take a ton of damage in this fight, so I definitely see him getting back in there. But I don't really know who he fights to get back to the championship because if he would have got the win over Charles Oliveira, then that definitely could have set up another rematch with him and Ilia Topuria or maybe even Justin Gaethje again. But I mean, I just after what he did to Justin Gaethje the first time, I'm not sure that they make that fight again. Maybe if Justin Gaethje loses to Ilia Topuria, that can be something that they run back. But I mean, we'll have to see. I mean, these fights and these matchmakers with the UFC, I mean, they probably have some of the best jobs in the world, in my opinion, because you just get to sit there and talk about fights and match these people up. And obviously, if you watch the pay-per-view tonight, Dana White dropped the card for the UFC White House card. That's going to be a banger. I can't wait to talk about that next. We definitely have Alex Pereira. He vacated his heavyweight champion. I mean, he vacated the light heavyweight championship, and everybody pretty much knew he was going to move up to heavyweight after he did that. That was pretty much the sign right there, and Dana White pretty much confirmed it. Now, Cyril Gunn, I'm not gonna say I'm a psychic or anything, but I told people I said if Alex Pereira moves up to heavyweight, Sidogan is pretty much the only fight that makes sense for him to move up to. Because when you really think about the way these guys fight, it's a very they have very similar styles, but except one guy's just much bigger than the other one. I don't want to say he's much bigger, but if you look at Sidogan and Alex Pereira's physicality, I mean both of these guys are very tall, lanky, kind of rangy fighters, but Sudogan has a lot more meat on his bones, and he's got a lot more muscle than Alex Pereira. And he's been in there with guys like Francis Ngannou. He's been in there with guys like Tai Tuivasa, Alex Volkov. Even though I feel like he lost the second fight to Volkov, but Sudogan is definitely one of the most skilled heavyweights in the UFC right now. And that's not really, and I don't want to say that's not saying a lot, but I really feel like the heavyweight division has been so like staggered in these past couple of years. We have a lot of heavyweights that are just not really producing. I don't know what these guys are doing, but we definitely need something to shake up the heavyweight division. And Alex Pereira moving up to heavyweight is definitely something that can shake the division up. Because I mean, if he gets past Sidogan, and I'm gonna do an in-depth breakdown of that fight. I'm not sure if he gets past Sidogan. I mean, after fighting guys like Francis Ngannou getting hit by Tai Tuivasa, I mean, look, man, we know Alex Pereira is one of the hardest hitting guys pound for pound in the UFC, but he hasn't been in the heavyweight division. I mean, even when back in his kickboxing days, he hasn't fought heavyweights. I mean, he hasn't been fighting heavyweights. I've seen him spar with heavyweights, and everybody kind of, I don't want to say they take it easy on him, but they don't really bring the kind of level that he brings into sparring. Because if you watch how Pereira spars, he really gets into it. Like he'll match your 40% with 80%. So I've never really seen a heavyweight give Alex Pereira too many problems, even when even in sparring and training. So I just don't really know how it's going to work out with him moving up into the heavyweight division. I mean, I know he cut a lot of weight to make 185, so that would probably put him walking around 230, 240-ish. But I mean, these heavyweights are cutting down from 280, 290. I mean, when I was competing, I was cutting down from 295. I was dropping 30, 35-ish pounds just to make weight on fight day. So there's a lot of guys that are pushing 300 in the heavyweight division that can move. Now, I know there's a lot of guys that aren't in the heavyweight rankings, but I think there's a lot of guys that aren't even in the top 15 that'll probably give Alex Pereira some problems because styles make fights and they make weight divisions for a reason. I mean, and and look, I'm not saying that he can't do it, but in the past recent set of guys that have moved up and tried to capture that gold, we haven't really seen people be that successful. Now, Islam Makachev did it at 170 when he was able to when he was able to shut out Jack Della Maddalena, but that's kind of one of those weird little asterisks to put on the to put on your papers, because that's one of those things to where Makachev is one of those, those Russian guys are like, they're different. So they come with the kind of strength that can stretch across different weight divisions. But I'm not sure that Alex Pereira, because he hasn't, his style isn't rooted in strength. Like, his style isn't rooted in grappling. It's rooted in how hard he can hit you. And one of the special things about Pereira is just the fact that he's so tall, he's so bony, he's so lanky. His bones and his fist and his body, they have to be super dense in order for him to be able to pull off some of the knockouts that he pulls. But even still, though, man, I mean, you're going up against guys that are in the heavyweight division that are going to hit you just as hard, or probably even harder than you're going to hit them. And me personally, I'm looking at the way he got knocked out by Israel Adesanya in the rematch. And I just really feel like somebody like Sidhu Gun can probably put him on his ass and, maybe put him to sleep. Excuse me. Now, will that happen? That's up to y'all to determine that. And like I said, we're gonna do an more in-depth breakdown with that video. But either way, congratulations to Charles Oliveira. Like I said, I can't really touch on too much of the fight because Charles Oliveira pretty much used his grappling like I thought he was gonna do, and he pretty much shut Max Holloway out. I mean, Max didn't really have an answer for him, and it's one of those things to where, I mean, what else can you say? What else can you say about the fight? It was a straight 5-round shutout. So shout out to Charles Oliveira. Hopefully he gets the shot at the title next. I mean, it will be very interesting to see, because I mean, he's fought both guys that are going to be fighting for the belt. So who knows what's going to happen with that. There's a lot more fights that's coming up soon. I definitely want to review some more of these fights, especially for this White House card. So we'll probably get into that next. And yeah, man, we'll just go ahead and cut it off right there. So as always, like I want to end all of my videos, I want to say stay safe, stay blessed, and always stay dangerous. We will see y'all on the next one, man. Holla at y'all.